This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and it is a Friday, Matt. We've got a football game in the hopper already.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. There you go. Don't throw that at us there. I didn't even realize that one. But we're getting a little more clarity now in regards to the Steelers quarterback situation.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin addressed the media today after practice. The Steelers practice earlier in the morning on Fridays. And, gave a little update on the situation. And here's what he had to say.
All right.
Man, we had a really good Friday. A lot of situational things to cover, a lot of teaching and learning, not only regarding the game plan and game plan specifics, but just situational ball in general. We're just doing global teaching and learning. It's still at the very early portions of this journey. That's the season. And so, we got things to learn in terms of getting ready for this game, but just in general, we got things to learn as well. Regarding Russell's availability, I'm going to list him as questionable. And so obviously if his availability is questionable, then starting is less so. But we've been in that mindset all week, man. Like I've said, we've been focused on getting Justin ready to play, and we'll continue in that mindset as we push forward toward game time. Questions?
When it comes to your offensive line situation, how have you been handling this distribution of reps during practice, especially with Troy getting more reps now?
I think the only thing different this week is Troy is more available. Obviously, his availability is not in question, and so I've been more thoughtful about how to distribute reps, and at the end of this thing, we'll determine who plays and how often.
What have you learned about Troy's ability to jump on and move and train?
He's been here the whole time. His injury is different than Roman. If you will, Roman got hurt in the very early portions of the process. He's been a large component of the process, and so it's a different discussion.
How has Broderick worked on the left side?
Broderick's been working on right and left since the spring.
All right. You got a chance to meet Paul Skeens yesterday. What was that like for you? You talked a little in the video about how much you respect. What do you like about watching?
I'm a big fan. I'm not only a big fan of the product that he's putting out, but from what I hear, I'm a big fan of his approach. He's a young guy with a very mature approach, and the consistency of his performance is probably the biggest indication of that. And so, man, I am a big fan.
All right.
Thanks.
There you hear it. Mike Tomlin, a big fan of Paul Skeens.
How about that? Didn't know that was coming.
Excellence appreciates excellence.
I don't know much about baseball, but he sure seems like an impressive young pitcher to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you heard what he had to say about Russell Wilson this week.
Yeah.
Questionable to play in this game, and if he is questionable to play in the game, he is more than questionable to start the game.
Yeah.
And so that is the expectation. The Steelers worked all week long with Justin Fields getting the starters reps, and that will be the case on Sunday.
Yeah, and somewhat to be expected. It's a long season. Why rush Wilson back? I mean, I think his short area quickness is really, really important at this stage of his career to find throwing lanes.
Yeah.
And if that's compromised with the calf, that's a problem. We saw Cousins firsthand not being 100%, in my opinion, not being able to protect himself as well as he should in the pocket, move around, get out of the way of pass rush. So why rush it? You just want a game with Fields. I think you can win another one.
Yeah, and I really think that because the quarterback rollouts and things of that nature are such a big part of Arthur Smith's game plan, that if your quarterback has limited mobility, it really limits what you can do with this offense. If this were the Todd Haley offense, for example, catch it and throw it, throw it, it's a little different.
Yeah.
If you're just looking to get rid of the football quickly and distribute it, it's a different animal than I think what they want with Arthur Smith's offense.
Yeah, and I wonder, I keep going back to Atlanta, and I know they're different injuries, but they're about the same age.
Yeah.
And Cousins is really, really good at play action. They didn't even think he was athletic, mobile enough to run play action. Do they regret putting him out there in week one? I mean, was that the wrong decision for Atlanta? If you can't do what the player does
They
well,
regret signing him to that contract.
Well, that's a much different story. They're married to that one. That one there was no discussion about anymore. But if Wilson, the other thing I don't know is if he were to play, is there a higher percentage that it could get much, much worse, and like ruin your year?
And that's what they're trying to avoid here.
Of course, yeah.
They want him to be out there and be at full speed and be able to full go. And they have a viable option.
Yeah. It's not Duck Hodges behind
right.
him.
If this was that kind of situation where your backup is and no offense to Duck Hodges.
He did everything good.
He did everything that they asked him to do and more.
Yeah.
But if that's your backup option, if this is 25,
Green Bay.
if this is 25 other teams in the league,
right.
Yeah, you're going to put the starter out there regardless, no matter what, because he's still going to be better than your backup.
Yeah.
But a compromised Russell Wilson right now isn't a better option than Justin Fields.
Right. I mean, Fields is a hard player to play against.
Yeah.
I mean, does he have his warts? Yes. There's a lot of things he needs to work on. But I'm not sure, but if you ask 32 defensive coordinators, would you rather play Wilson or Fields? There might be some that say I'd rather play Wilson because Fields is a hard guy to play against because of his style of play.
Yeah. And the great thing about this, Matt, this was not the plan.
No.
The plan was for Wilson, ideally, to start all 17 games and playoff games and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have known as much about Justin Fields moving forward.
Well, that's true. He's gotten a lot of opportunity.
Now they're getting a good look at Justin Fields. They're going to have to make a decision on these two quarterbacks at the end of this season, which one they want to, or if they don't want to move on with either one of them.
Yeah.
Well, now they're getting an opportunity to take an extended look, not just at Justin Fields now, but then they're going to get an extended look at Russell Wilson as well, and you're going to be able to compare and contrast. Like, okay, we could do this with Justin, we can do this with Russell. What do we want to move forward with?
Yeah, and this one's going to cost this much. This one's going to cost this much, and I think we could be a really good offense if we pick option A and get a slot receiver. Because or if we pick option B, let's get another tight end. Or you know what I mean? Like how are we going to design this thing, assuming Arthur Smith's still the coordinator, which I would imagine he will be, and maybe bring back both, maybe bring back neither. Maybe it's like we can do better, or I don't know. I don't think there's a discussion at the moment of if they both were 100%, who would be the starter.
Yeah,
and
I think it's still Wilson.
I think it's still Wilson, and deservedly so, and he would be my choice as well. But what if this goes 3 or 4 weeks and you're 4-0 and Fields is really playing well? I mean, every step he gets better and better. You might have a discussion mid-season. Who knows?
Yeah,
it could happen.
I would. I don't know what.
I'm not trying to create controversy.
Yeah, I don't know what that would look like, though, for me. Yeah. I don't, if he goes out and throws 5, if he has a game similar to the one he had last year against the Broncos,
Denver,
where he throws 4 touchdown passes and throws for 300 yards. I don't know that that's going to be going to happen, though, because they don't need to play that way necessarily. And, oh, by the way, Fields lost that game to Russell Wilson.
Oh, I didn't even look at who won the game. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, so... No, he would have to do astronomical things, in my opinion. I mean, it would be nothing like week 1.
He's certainly capable of making wow plays.
Oh, yeah. That's never been a problem.
Yeah. But you want to continue to see him protect the football and, do the things necessary to win football games. This is a guy, after all, and this is no knock on Justin Fields because, quite frankly, Chicago didn't build around him very well.
No.
But last week was his 11th career win in 39 starts.
Yes, great.
That's a fact.
He was on the Chiefs, but I mean, he's never won 3 games in a row. I mean, so 2 in a row is a big accomplishment here. Let's baby step this thing. I mean, I don't think Denver's a very good team. I expect the Steelers to at least be highly competitive, if not control the game, and we'll go from there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then you'll make those other decisions down the road. But I still do think that Russell Wilson is the Steelers starter. I don't know that Fields can change that in one more start.
I'm not happy Wilson's injured, of course.
No.
But to your former point, when they made these quarterback situations and looking at Wilson's durability history, I was thinking, I wonder if they'll never get a good look at Fields. They'll practice with him every day, and
because he has been a very durable guy over the course of his career.
Right. What if Wilson does start every game? And I'm sure Fields will get in games here and there. But what if you didn't get a real good, accurate assessment of Fields for postseason? Do we want him or not?
Yeah. So they're getting that look, and we'll see. Again, they've got time to make decisions about some of these things in the future. But they're getting as much information as they can right now, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, and all through camp.
And
all that
winning
stuff,
games along the way also.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not Atlanta or one of these teams that are getting beat bad with their plan. You know? Right.
So in terms of some of the other stuff, looks like Patrick Queen should be good to go for this game.
Okay.
That was kind of a precautionary thing yesterday. Really, outside of the quarterback situation and Isaac Seumalo, they should be relatively healthy here.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And you heard Mike Tomlin asked about the offensive line situation.
And now you got someone back, too.
Yeah, and this is not a secret. I mean, he was asked about this and said that, yes, he's been taking first-team snaps at right tackle. We could see Troy Fautanu at right tackle in this game and not Dan Moore on either side.
Not Broderick
Or
Jones
not
on
Broderick
either
Jones,
side.
I should say, on either side. It could be Dan Moore
at left tackle
and Troy Fautanu.
I'm kind of expecting that at this point. I mean, and maybe a step back couldn't be good for Broderick, or maybe he just concentrates on left.
He's still
going forward.
dealing with that elbow injury.
Yeah, I mean, he has a brace on it, and I don't know how much that affects his play, but I don't think it helps at all. It's also his outside hand for right tackle. And I know people are disappointed by hearing that news. Put the 2 first-rounders out there. Don't take a quality football player off the field if you don't think he's the best option. If you think he's the best option just for the future, trying to win games. I mean, it's a very Tomlin-esque thing. What do we have to do to win this upcoming game? We'll worry about all the other big picture stuff, and that'll all present itself.
Yeah.
It'll come around.
And it doesn't mean that they don't like Broderick Jones. It doesn't mean they're benching Broderick Jones or anything of the sort. It just means
that's what everyone will be saying. Oh, they benched him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a bust.
They want to get Fautanu on the field. They want to get because he missed a good portion of the preseason. They liked what they saw.
Yeah.
In the time that he spent in the preseason, and they want to they feel like he is the future there at right tackle. But right now, at least at this moment, Broderick Jones isn't a better left tackle than Dan Moore.
Not for week 2 in Denver on the 15th of September of 2024. They don't believe that to be true.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it won't be the case.
Right.
2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, we don't know. But he does need the time to, settle in at that spot. He's been practicing here and there on the left side. But again, and I've heard people, well, they're doing Broderick Jones a disservice by playing him on the right side. You got to be able to have an offensive line you can line up and win with in week 1. What were they supposed to do?
Who's your backup right tackle?
Yeah.
Or your starting right tackle if he's out.
Right.
Like, Dan Moore can't play right tackle.
Oh, by the way, your backup was Spencer Anderson.
Yeah.
Who's now playing at left guard because Sam Allou's hurt.
Right.
You have to do what you need to do to win on a particular week, so that meant Broderick Jones had to go to right tackle.
Yeah. I mean, Cardinal Lake had to play corner one time.
Yeah.
Alan Faneca played left tackle.
Alan Faneca had to kick out and play left tackle for a season.
Exactly. I mean, it's not always the way you draw it up.
Is that fair to him? No.
Right. I mean, but
that's the 1 year, in fact, that he didn't make first-team All-Pros because he kicked out the left tackle.
Yeah, right.
Was that fair? No. But he did what he needed to do for the team.
This is a tough sport. This is a tough league. It probably won't go this way. But I still think there's a path where Fautanu gets in the game and is really good.
Yeah.
He's a right tackle from here on out, and they loved him in the first round. You and I loved him in the first round, and he's a good player from this moment on until he decides to retire one day. And in the meantime, Jones is doing a lot of work at left tackle, and before you know it, they say, man, he's really getting good. That elbow's healthy. Let's insert him in the lineup because now we think he's the better player than Dan Moore.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if Seumalo was right next to him, too. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, the veteran left guard presence between a rookie center and a second-year, pretty raw Broderick Jones. Do I want Spencer Anderson being the glue between those two? You know what I mean? And Spencer Anderson can take more reps at right tackle in the meantime.
People were suggesting last week, well, they need to put, Fautanu's healthy now, put him at right tackle, move Broderick Jones over to left tackle. Then you got 4 new starters on your offensive line.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for error there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you want to create paths how you could lose the Broncos, that's a pretty good path.
That's one way to do it, yeah.
I mean, you choose that adventure. You could get down in the the scary woods before you know it, you know?
Yeah. So, you don't want to blow everything up
You need some stability.
because you're worried about down the road. You have to win this week. What do you need to do to win this week?
Yep.
And that's the way it has to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Jones is or Moore's having a bad game, Jones might come in. Or I do think the CMALU factor is important, too.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a
Absolutely.
really important glue guy.
Yeah. I mean, again, you don't want to have if you made that move now,
Yeah, it's a lot of moves.
you'd have Broderick Jones making his first career start at left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Next to Spencer Anderson, who'll be making his second career start. Next to Zach Frazier, who's making his second career start. And your right tackle will be making his first career start.
Yeah, that's
Again, is that the path you want to go down? Is that what you really want to see right now?
And the Denver front isn't a joke. You know what I mean? Like, that is going to be a problem. I'm sure they'd scheme things up like crazy to challenge you mentally and timing wise. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it's a road game in a very loud venue.
Yeah, not an easy place to play to begin with. Your center isn't Webby in his 10th year to stabilize everything.
Yeah.
He's a really promising prospect.
With the quarterback who's a new guy in the system as
That
well. I mean,
too.
there's a lot of new there, and there's too much new to throw into a situation like that.
And it's a new offense. This isn't the same offense that Ben ran for 10 years or whatever that everybody knows like the back of their hand. I mean, they're still learning, in the stadium, as Coach likes to say.
Very few people think about things in
like
that
right
way.
It's real easy just to fantasy football it up and
yeah.
put it in your lineup or
Well, these guys are first-round picks. You should just plug them right
plug
in.
them right in. But there's human element and a communication element and all that stuff too. And Dan Moore's smart and you know what you're getting.
Again, he's a stabilizing factor out there. The guy's made 50 career starts.
When I talk about coaching, I mention the word trust all the time.
Yeah.
You got to trust them. I mean, some of these, there's really volatile prospects that their best day's great, but I can't trust you every snap yet.
And that's the thing with young players. The thing that coaches love about the veteran players why you see them go with the veteran oftentimes is because you know exactly what to expect. It's a nice level.
Sure.
It's not the peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
And sometimes the young guys, the peaks can be really good.
Sure.
But the valleys can be really low.
Absolutely. Or they make a total mental error. Or, Levis in the end of that game. You can trust them now?
Yeah. A mental error gets you beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Or your quarterback killed.
That too.
Yeah.
So, no, I totally get the move. I hope people don't overreact like crazy.
They will.
Well, of course. That's why I'm mentioning it, because our listeners are smarter than that.
Yeah. That's why you should listen to this show and maybe not so much the talk radio in Pittsburgh that
it gets a little splashy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very emotional type responses to a lot of stuff. Don't get too emotional with this stuff. You just have to look behind the scenes and give it some thought into why might they want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, again, all those new starters on a new offense with a new quarterback. It's kind of all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's
No
get
more
to a
moving
break.
parts,
He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. When we return, we'll be joined by Missy Matthews.
Ah, nice.
She should be here in the studio with us because we're on video now as well as doing the audio part of the show. And, well, she would liven up the room a heck of a lot better than we do.
Our two
ugly
mugs, right.
We'll talk to Missy right after this.
This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And we are now joined on the phone by the Missy Matthews. She gets a "the" before her name as well.
Of course.
Steelers sideline reporter. And Missy, glad to have you here joining the drive. And first off, are you ever surprised, or has it reached a point where you just expect it when you see a crowd like what we had last weekend in Atlanta?
I mean, I think maybe sometimes I do feel like I'm just accustomed to it and used to it, but I always go back to that game against the Chargers in the soccer stadium in LA.
Yeah.
And just how insane that was. But it was a smaller venue, but it was just incredible to me, the amount of Steelers fans that were there. But I do think when, the other team's using the silent count, then you're like, oh, wait, yeah, that is actually kind of crazy. And TJ Watt knew exactly what he was doing by getting them all riled up. And then they just took over that stadium. All he had to do, wave his arms up, and there they go.
So, Missy, I don't go to road games. I mean, and I watch them on TV, but more often than not in those type of situations, do you really think it affects the football game, the product? I mean, I think it definitely did on Sunday.
I do. I think there's something to it. I'm not saying like, okay, if Steelers Nation's really loud when the other team's on offense, it's a sure thing. But I think it has to mess with you a little bit. It would be like, another team taking over Acrisure Stadium. That would just
It's got to be
weird.
demoralizing.
Yeah, it's like someone you didn't invite to the party shows up at your house. You want to kick them out.
Right. Like, hey.
And then they take over the
you
party.
weren't on that
Right.
list.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Drinking
All of a
the
sudden,
beer.
they're calling for toast and stuff.
Right. This is my house. Get out of here.
Yeah, I think for the Steelers, you usually that's not something you think about when you're playing a home game. It's the home crowd advantage. It sounds cliche, but I do think it probably means even more on the road when you aren't expecting it, even though your fans are great. But yeah, I don't know. It's still crazy to me. I am interested to see though what Denver looks like because it's the excitement that we thought we'd see last week for Kirk Cousins and a new coaching staff down at Atlanta. I'm sure it's there. I had read some of their articles about how they're doing a whole campaign this week called See You Sunday, kind of like we're all going to meet at Empire Field, on Sunday and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you guys are probably doing this because you thought Russell Wilson was going to be the quarterback, and that's what this is really
And now
about.
that's been taken away from them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now they're selling their tickets.
And now you don't have that chip. But I'm sure they already sold the tickets because it was week 2. It's not like people are probably waiting to see if they won or lost in Seattle before deciding if they wanted to go. It's a home opener. So I don't know. I'm hoping it's an electric, crazy environment.
One thing we know they will do, because this seems to happen all the time on the road, they'll have some kind of towel giveaway or something before the game for the fans coming through.
Oh, really?
Because everybody does that because they know what it looks like on TV when all you see is the yellow towels twirling in the stands in a road venue. So they all get, like last week in Atlanta, they gave away white towels.
Okay.
It's
Which
it's
I
crazy.
thought was a weird choice.
Yeah, because it kind of
Yeah, but then it's like you're waving the white flag. They look like flags, right?
Good
I
point
don't know.
by you.
They looked more like flags, at least from the sidelines. It looked more like flags than towels because I think there's an art to waving a towel, and I feel like most fan bases don't get that.
Late in the second half, Kirk Cousins might have wanted to have one of those and just said, I'm done.
I'm done.
I don't want to get hit by
Waving
TJ Watt anymore.
Yeah, please don't touch me.
Missy, are you taking a bottle of oxygen with you to run up and down the sidelines this week?
So I have been there before. Funny enough, well, maybe it wasn't funny at the time. This is when I think Wolf blew out one of his knees.
Oh, yeah.
The last time we were in Denver, and he couldn't be on the sideline for safety reasons, so they had to put him in the booth, and that's kind of actually how I got the opportunity to be on the sidelines, ironically enough. But I don't remember it being an issue.
Yeah, the only one, Cam Hayward talked yesterday, and Cam, of course, has asthma. And he said that, the first few plays out there are a little rough on him. And then after that, he kind of gets his second wind and it kind of passes. So that's definitely something you want to keep an eye on during this game and see. Obviously, we know, for example, like Ryan Clark couldn't play out there. I don't know if any of the other guys on this particular team, and that doesn't seem to be the issue that it used to be. So I wonder if there's been some breakthroughs medically in terms of dealing with guys who have the sickle cell trait.
Interesting.
Yeah, probably. And I think Max was saying there's like the cans of oxygen now, like you would almost like spray it that you can get. So I don't know
portable,
if that
like
helps.
everyone has their own type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. But
Can of air.
hopefully it's
sounds like a Looney Tune kind of thing.
It does. Like Bugs Bunny would be holding it. But yeah, I'm hoping that it's not something I'm reporting on Sunday because obviously that's not a great thing. But I'm sure, every team has so many people on staff to worry about different things. I'm sure there is somebody who is specifically worrying about that type of situation and how to help guys. And I'm sure it was a topic of conversation at some point in a team meeting because everybody might not have played there at some point. And obviously for rookies, different people like that, it's a definite no. So hopefully it's not an issue.
So how did the rookie class acclimate themselves on the sidelines in week 1? Zach Frazier in particular to me is someone of interest, being the guy who touches the ball every snap, the center of a highly communicative position. Did it seem like the rookie class was comfortable and ready to be, major league players?
I mean, I don't know what else you could say about Zach Frazier. I think he just, I've said this before. I just feel like he has that Dave DeCastro, like, very serious, almost like serial killer vibe, where like you only care about football.
That's a good
and,
way
like,
to
you
describe
don't
it.
smile
Actually,
much.
That doesn't always fly in every walk of
smile.
life, but on the football field, it's a good trait. Yeah.
Right, yeah, like I don't know. It like Dave eventually had to get used to like talking to the media and being able to like smile.
He went from a guy who his rookie season, it was like dentistry when you were talking to him. You're just trying to pull teeth to get answers, and he just didn't. You could tell he didn't enjoy doing. He didn't like to do it. Took like three years later, he wins the Chief Award for being the guy who's the best with the media. I could see Frazier. I could see that happening.
Frazier
with
kind
Frazier
of has that feel to him, huh?
Yeah, I feel like he. I also get like being a rookie and like your head spinning no matter how prepared you think you are. So maybe that plays into it. But I just feel like the day after they drafted him and he came to the practice facility, I jokingly said to somebody, "Do we think this is going to be a Dave DeCastro? I'm going to ask you 12 questions. You're going to say 4 words." I don't know. And it kind of felt like that. He gave me a little bit more, and I was even surprised after the game in the locker room in Atlanta, it was more expansive sentences. I'm not going to say that he was, elaborating. But I guess you have to feel pretty good. You get your first NFL start, minus that botched snap, the handoff, and, being able to come home with a win. But I thought that, he was just locked in. And, not that there's not just one more offensive rookie, but Troy Fautanu, he just looked like he was going crazy not being able to play. I can say that confidently, but he did, just moved. The O-line moves as a pack. They sit at the very edge of the bench. If you're looking at the field, they're always on the left, and he stuck by those guys and by Isaac Seumalo. So, and I think Peyton Wilson, we saw some things that we've seen from him and will continue to hopefully see and build on. So, I don't know. Maybe Roman Wilson will play this week. Who knows? I kind of feel like he might have to wait his turn, just with how much time he has missed.
Kind of feel like we're going to see Fautanu this week in some form or fashion. It'd be interesting to see how he looks in that first NFL game.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but maybe he got healthier quicker than I thought he would have. And I just, so much time was missed. Not that it was in days, but I think for a rookie, and you think of that first game he had and those sacks that they gave up, but it seems like based on when you hear from Coach Tomlin, he talked about it like on Tuesday, but even today, I know, Dale, you were probably there whenever he spoke after practice. It's kind of that, like, I treat everybody fairly, but not everybody the same type deal.
Yeah.
When he talked about, it's a different discussion when you're talking about Troy playing or Roman Wilson being able to jump on the moving train. But I also don't disagree that they are very different.
So, Missy, there's a lot of turnover. Almost half the roster didn't return in some way, shape, or form. Did any of the new guys stand out to you from a vocal standpoint, or the way they can handle themselves with their teammates on game day? We saw some defensive backs, making big plays that are new. Patrick Queen's the green dot guy. Did anybody stand out to you?
I think that obviously Dante Jackson and Deshaun Elliott being able to get picks in their first game with the Steelers is great. You can never, it's not a bad thing, and you can never have enough. And clearly the turnover battle and winning it is a key to success for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think will continue to be. It sounds simple, but it really helps them when you look at it. Since last season, they're 7-1 when they force 2 or more turnovers. But I think maybe people don't realize how vocal Deshaun Elliott is. Did you guys have him on?
He was
on with us yesterday. Yeah.
Really well spoken.
I caught part of it, but he is just, he almost has like that Ryan Clark energy where he's always talking and talking louder than other people, but like in a good way. And I think meshing with Aminka Fitzpatrick, who is more soft-spoken, talks when needed. Not that, he can get guys fired up, but they're kind of polar opposites, but they also work so well together. So I'm interested to see, how that defense continues to mesh and build, and Patrick Queen, what he's able to do just in terms of impacting a game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Of course, the Steelers playing in Denver this weekend. Missy will be on the sidelines. You'll be able to hear her on the broadcast on these very airwaves. And Miss will let you go, and maybe we'll get some updates on the flight tomorrow on what's happening in the back air brawl.
Well, the good news is that we're leaving early.
Yes.
So we will be in Denver before it starts.
Oh, will we? I didn't realize that. I thought we got in around noon their time, which is about 2 o'clock. What time's the game? I don't even know what time it starts.
I don't know.
It's a 3:30 kick.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
So I might be able to have a pop or two and watch the game. So
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily want to watch the game with Wes, but,
Oh, no, don't invite him.
No, Wes can't come. He's not allowed. He'll be wearing a West Virginia jersey, and I'll have to throw him out of the bar.
Yeah.
So
on the plane, 100%.
there you go. He might have to get out of
no
the plane at 30,000 feet. He'd be like D.B. Cooper. Anyways.
I'll do the honors of pushing.
There you go. Our guest has been Missy Matthews. We appreciate you stopping by, Missy. That'll be an every Friday thing, so you have that to look forward to the rest of the year. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We'll be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and we'd like to thank Missy Matthews for stopping by as she will over the course of the season. And
friend of the show.
Yeah, and Matt, there was a game last night to kick off Week 2 in the NFL, and all off season long, you heard the Dolphins talking about how they needed to. They were tired of being a little brother in the Bills Dolphins situation. They needed to be tougher. Jordan Poyer joined the Dolphins this offseason from Buffalo and talked about it. Hey, we always felt you guys were soft.
Yeah, yep.
And coming out of that game last night, and this has nothing to do with the Tua situation.
No, we wish him the best, of course, and that's potentially tragic.
Yeah,
right.
The Miami Dolphins are SAWFT! Exclamation point. Soft. They are
very
a
much
soft football team.
A lot of reasons here, or a lot of things to take away. I mean, I thought they had poor energy from the start. I mean,
Which is amazing.
I say it's at home. Everyone on the planet's watching. Huge game. Josh Allen's coming to town.
It's your big rival. You're supposed to. This is the year you knock them off.
Yeah, Buffalo looked like the better and certainly more physical team from the start. Couple things with the Dolphins. Like, how long can you ignore offensive linemen in the draft? I mean, your best guy, Armstead, has never played a full season. He's in and out of that game. We were talking off the air. They had no interior run presence at all.
No.
Which is especially important because the way teams are going to play you is off the ball.
Right.
Everyone's going to be deathly afraid of Waddle and Tyreek, of course. And they should be because they're frightening as could be. But Buffalo played deep, came up and smacked people and tackled and got a lot of people to the ball. And Miami had no physicality to beat up on lighter boxes.
And Buffalo's defensive line
is good.
Dominated Miami's offensive line. So they're getting there with 4 guys.
Yep.
They could play coverage on the back end. You don't have a banger of a running back. You're running 185-pound Devin Achan in there.
Over and over.
He had 29 touches in that game.
Too many.
It's way too many.
Right. I mean, my fantasy team was happy about it. And
you had Jeff Wilson there, who's a bigger back.
Right.
And they didn't use him.
Right. I mean,
they should have a Najee Harris type back.
Yeah. I mean, they're not hard to find. I mean, Najee's hard to find, but I mean, you could get a 5th round. They should have the guy the Bills
Allen.
Yeah.
They should have Braylon Allen or someone like that.
Ray Davis is who I was thinking, who they just played against. Use a 5th round pick on him. And I understand the speed and all that stuff. And, draft a guard once in a while in the 3rd round. That's a big physical guy. And they're just not built that way at all. And now I feel like they have to play this way, with deception as opposed to being really innovative. And they are. He's a really interesting play caller. But now you have to start questioning. They have to play that way with all these motions and different, misdirection.
This is why I don't feel like he's a great head coach. I think he's okay. I think he's a play caller.
I think he's a tremendous offensive designer and play caller.
But when it comes to making decisions like that, about the overall how you want to play football, I don't know that that's the guy I want doing that.
I really had a problem with the way they handled the end of the first half, too. I mean, it was, let's just play slow.
Let's just get through this.
Let's just get through this. Let's get to, I mean, you're losing an important game, and you got timeouts, and you're using them at the very end as opposed to playing fast, trying to score. I don't get it. And the commentators made a note of it, and, Waddle and Hill late in the game or even much of the second half aren't in there because they're losing so bad, but they're not even engaging with their teammates.
Yeah.
They're over on the side and, doing their own thing, and they're trotting out a lot of backups, and, I think they're still looking for a third receiver of some sort, and the O-line's just going to be a major problem.
It really is, and then, of course, you lose to Tagovailoa, in that game.
Who knows for how long or, what that –
It's another concussion for him,
right?
and I believe that's 5.
Yeah, going back to Bama, right.
And yes, he didn't have anything last year, but this, and it was such a needless play by Tua in that situation. Mm-hmm. He had the first down. All he has to do is slide feet first, and nobody can touch him. Instead, he dives. He's already past the first down marker, and he dives head first, and he kind of gets kneed in the head.
Mm-hmm.
It's just – I hope that's not how his career ends.
Right. I mean, it really was not a good visual or inspire any confidence that, he'll be fine. And I hope that's not the case 100%. And I hesitate to even say it, but I mean, it wasn't a nasty Jack Tatum collision to the head.
No, it wasn't
either,
the biggest hit, yeah.
And if that's going to cause a concussion well after a year since your last one, I hate talking medical stuff, but that would scare the heck out of me too.
Yeah.
And there's also a flip side to this. I like what Buffalo's doing.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo's starting to embrace that they play in Buffalo, New York, and you see a 6th offensive lineman out there. They're spreading the ball around. They're good on both lines of scrimmage. And he's a good head coach who knows how to win in this league, too.
I'll put it this way. Josh Allen threw for 139 yards.
Yeah.
He threw 19 passes in that game.
And he wasn't running around like crazy.
He ran the ball twice.
Yeah, that's amazing.
2 carries for 2 yards. This was not, again, I hate to bring fantasy into this, but if Josh Allen was your fantasy quarterback this week, you're like, what the heck?
So it's a funny story.
They did what they needed to do to win, and then that was dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, but what's funny, my 18-year-old son and I were watching the game together last night, and I'm like, do you have anyone in this game for your fantasy league? He's like, I have Josh Allen and I have a Chan.
Oh. Well, it worked out.
It half worked out, but in the real world, Allen did a much better job at what he was supposed to do than a Chan.
Yeah.
But his fantasy team suffered with Allen because he really didn't have to do anything. I mean, just don't turn it over. It's another feather in the cap of run the ball, be physical, don't extend yourself more than you have to, and you can still win games in this league. Tackle, block, fundamentals, things that have lasted since the beginning of time.
Fundamental football still matters, and for the people who think, well, this is the passing league, you have to be able to throw it all over the yard, it didn't bode well for that because that's the way the Dolphins are built.
Yeah.
That's what they're built to do, and you can shut that down.
Mm-hmm. And
defense still matters in this league.
And good offensive line play travels, it gives you a floor. There's going to be weather and things of that nature coming up. I mean, it's a long season and things aren't going to go your way. And I'm not making anything light of the Tua injury, but the last 2 years we've seen 68 and 69 quarterbacks. If your quarterback's going to stub his toe or anything and all of a sudden your offense is totally dysfunctional,
now you're playing
win.
Skylar Thompson, and he stinks.
He couldn't complete a pass.
No.
I mean, there were open receivers against prevent, and he can't complete a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you're going to trot out there, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I don't.
Their season's in trouble.
I didn't understand that either. Again, a team with a quarterback who has an injury history, and they go with Skylar Thompson as their backup. They did it with Mike White last year, and I wasn't a big Mike White fan. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, the backup quarterback situation matters in this league.
It does, and they're pretty light on it, to be honest with you. Yeah, and I know they're paying their guy a lot, which that's another whole avenue. Is it going to be a really poor contractual situation now because he's getting guaranteed money and you gave him a big signing bonus, and I hope that's not the case, and nor do I hope his career is ended or compromised to any degree, but it sure doesn't look good for the short term at least.
No, it does not, and
they're always better at the beginning of the season than the end.
Right.
Well, it's not going to be the beginning of the season much longer, and you're not going to be all at your best right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you lost a game at home to the Buffalo Bills. I think
It wasn't competitive.
wasn't. No, it's 7-7 after a quarter, and you're thinking, oh, maybe this will be a good game, and then, bleh.
Yeah.
17-3 in the second quarter, and it ends up 31-10.
There's some bad decisions. There were some bad interceptions. Looked like bad communication, and just bad physicality by Miami.
Yeah, just bad play all around, and that's a
And
team.
I don't love their defense either, by the way.
No, the defense is
They could have used Christian Wilkins. in that
SAWFT.
game. Yeah. They could have used some beef in the middle and some physicality. And James Cook's a good player, but he shouldn't run all over you like that.
Defense still matters in this league, and
Yeah.
if you don't believe so, run back the tape of that game last night, and you'll see why that is the case.
And Buffalo didn't do. I mean, I didn't study the all 22, but it sure looked like they won up front, came up and tackled, played pretty basic defense, too high shell. We don't have to confuse you or do any of that stuff. We're just going to play hard-nosed football, tackle the catch, hit the quarterback, win in the trenches.
Yeah.
Oliver and Rousseau and those guys are good players.
Amazing. You can still do that in today's NFL.
Yep.
It's all about offense. You got to throw the ball all over the place. Well, the Dolphins threw the ball 39 times yesterday and scored 10 points.
So I was thinking about this. Like, I'm watching that game, and I know it's an odd conversation, but if a genie came out of a bottle, perfectly normal, right?
Yeah, right. Happens every day.
And you swapped the Steelers play caller for the Dolphins play caller, and you made him play with 3 tight ends and not ridiculous team speed, and you asked Arthur Smith to play with a bunch of finesse guys, who would do it better playing left-handed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have an answer, but, like if you hired him to be the next head coach here and Tomlin retires, would he just go out and get every 4-2 player he can get? You know what I mean? Or is that a Miami thing? You know
I think
what I mean?
it almost has to be a Miami thing, and we've talked about that before.
That wouldn't work here as well as Miami.
Right.
Right.
And Miami needs to realize that they play games in Buffalo and New England and
They're the oddball in
Jets.
their division.
Yeah.
Right. Geographically.
And that's why when they went into that game yesterday or last offseason in the playoffs and they got to go to Kansas City and it's -6, they can't win.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure Arthur Smith would love to play around with Waddle and Tyreek.
Oh,
and
yeah, who
Chan,
wouldn't?
Of course. But I bet he'd also be like, we better draft a guard.
Yeah. How about some offensive linemen here?
Yeah, we're winning by 6 in the fourth quarter. How do we close this team out?
Right.
It's not by throwing ends arounds to Tyreeks and bombs to Waddle, and like, how do we close teams out in Buffalo?
In Buffalo.
Yeah.
In December.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways, interesting game, interesting outcome. We hope Tua is okay.
You think Buffalo's a contender? I think they're the best team in their division.
I think they're the best team in that division.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can be very difficult to play against. I still don't love the pass catchers,
Right.
which is a problem, but
They have a superhuman at quarterback, which
They
goes
do.
a long way too.
which helps, yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's why we play the season out. It's a long season, and the Jets and Dolphins were supposed to be the people to usurp the Bills this season. Didn't look like it early.
No, I didn't think Miami was super impressive in week 1 either,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
So we'll see how that goes. But he is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. That's going to do it for hour number 1. Matt and I will be back with hour number 2 right after this.
This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is the start of hour number 2 of The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And Matt, our captain's chair DFS lineup last night was a dud.
Oh, it was a total disaster.
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't typically do well with that captain's chair thing for whatever reason.
I guess you're right.
Maybe we should just stop doing it.
Maybe
I don't
we
know.
learn our
I don't know
lesson.
that I have such a feel for that as I do.
I definitely don't feel as comfortable building
Yeah.
them. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen sure didn't help. And if you didn't have, a lineup like that, if you didn't have Cook and or a Chan, forget about it.
Yeah.
And we had neither.
Yeah, so makes it difficult to win.
Yep.
We will put together our DFS lineup, though, for this week's slate of games, not including the Thursday night game. And so looking at this here, well, I got 13 games, right? No, I don't want 13 games. We want all the games. So that should be 15 games.
Yeah.
Let me get into the right
Okay. That one probably didn't have all the night games, I assume.
let's see here.
We can do 13 if that's all it's
There's
available.
15.
All right.
I got it here. So we want to go 15 games. This is on, of course, DraftKings. We do the double ups. And let's get into the single entry for those of you who are also playing along, which happens. All right, so let's take a look here at the defenses this week, and should have some good options.
Yeah, we singled out a few on, Monday, I think it was?
Yeah, let's start bottom up. The Panthers are 2,300 new. Cardinals, 2,300 new. Saints, 2,400. The Vikings, 2,400. No. Buccaneers, 2,500 against Detroit. No. Raiders against Baltimore, 2,500. No. Packers against Indianapolis are 2,600 at home.
It's not bad.
It's not awful.
I know we're not there, but I picked up the Colts in one league. I mean, I think that that could be an option. But my point is, I would think Indy wants to run the ball a lot and control things. And if I'm Green Bay, that's all I got.
That's what I'm going to do too. Yeah.
I'm going to try to shorten this game. And I know the Packer defense was not impressive in week 1. But that field was so bad, and everyone's slipping all over the place. And, they do have talent on that side of the ball. I don't think it's a terrible, cheap option. Richardson could turn the ball over, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a volatile
He's
guy.
not real accurate.
Yeah.
The Giants at Washington is 2,500 or 2,700. 2,700.
I think they'll get sacks.
Yeah.
That's
Rookie
not bad
quarterback,
at all.
that's not
I can't
terrible.
see a lot of points in that game.
No, I don't either.
I might like that one better than the Packers.
New England at home against Seattle is 2,800.
I also like that.
That's not bad.
Seattle started so slow against Denver. And I don't know if that's a trend for them, but it's a young coaching staff that's going on a super far road trip. 1 o'clock start. I could see the Patriots hanging around that game.
The Broncos are 2,800 against the Steelers. I'm just going to mention the ones here that are interesting. Washington at home against the Giants is 3,000.
I'd rather have the Giants.
I'd rather have the Giants defense.
That's a better defense.
Yeah.
I think they have better pass rush.
I agree.
Yeah.
Jacksonville against Cleveland is 3,100.
I think there'll be sacks.
There'll be sacks. There might be some turnovers.
Yep.
Houston against Chicago is 3,100.
I don't mind that either.
That's at home. Kansas City against Cincinnati is 3,200.
I think they're going to win big.
Indianapolis against Green Bay is 3,300.
It's not bad either. There's some real good options.
You've seen Malik Willis play in the past. It's not been pretty.
No.
Cleveland against Jacksonville, 3,300. The Chargers against Carolina is 3,400.
Mack and Bosa were highly effective. It's a well-coached group. Some of the cheaper ones, though, might be the better move.
Yeah. Philadelphia against Atlanta at home is 3,400. The Steelers are 3,500 in Denver.
Okay.
San Francisco against Minnesota is 3,600.
There's a lot I like to pick from.
The Ravens against the Raiders is 3,700.
Do you agree that there's 10 of these that you've mentioned that would be suitable?
Oh, yeah.
Should we do defense last this time around and just see what we have money left for?
Yeah, I think so.
Because, instead of just plugging one in and then changing it.
Let's see what we like at quarterback.
All right.
So this week, Lamar Jackson, 7,700.
Imagine he'll run a lot.
C.J. Stroud is 7,300. Jalen Hurts, 7,200. Mahomes is 7,000. Anthony Richardson is 6,800. Dak Prescott, 6,700. Kyler Murray, 6,600. I'd feel better about that one if he didn't show up on the injury report, the knee injury this week. Jared Goff, 6,400. Joe Burrow, 6,300. Jaden Daniels, 6,200.
He's good for fantasy.
Yeah. Purdy is 6,100. Stafford, 6,000. Kirk Cousins, 6,000. Aaron Rodgers, 5,900. Baker Mayfield, 5,900. Justin Herbert, 5,800. Williams in Chicago is 5,800. Trevor Lawrence, 5,700. Deshaun Watson, 5,600. Geno Smith, 5,500. Justin Fields is $5,400.
I was just about to say, there's two names I'm waiting to hear.
Yeah.
Fields and Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is 5,300.
Okay. Who do you prefer out of those? I don't love the expensive options this week.
I don't either. Let's plug Fields in.
I think that's fine by me. I mean, I don't think the Steelers.
You know what his rushing floor? I mean, the guy averages 55 yards rushing over the course of his career.
Right. I mean, if he
had
gets
52
you that
last week.
Right. And he's almost always a top 10 fantasy quarterback because of that.
Right.
He just didn't produce any touchdowns.
He didn't break a long one last week.
Well, touchdowns killed him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think they'd score.
Right. I do too.
No, I think him and Jones are cheap and they run.
Let's look at tight end. We'll do the standalone
Okay.
positions first. Tight end, you're looking at Sam Laporta, 6,300. Travis Kelce, 6,200. McBride is 6,000. Kittle, 5,500. Evan Ingram, 5,400. Mark Andrews, 5,000.
This might be a buy low Mark Andrews time for me.
Yeah, oftentimes when a guy gets ignored one week, the next week he goes nuts.
I saw some studies on it. Spagnuolo doubled him every time.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to keep up.
Kyle Pitts is 4,900.
Okay.
Isaiah Likely, 4,800. Ferguson is 4,700. Schultz, 4,600. Dallas Goedert, 4,500.
That's not bad.
Brock Bowers, 4,400.
That's not bad either. They used him a lot.
Freiermuth is 4,100.
Okay.
Chig is 4,000. Taysom Hill, 3,900.
Interesting.
Hunter Henry is 3,800. Cole Kmet, 3,900.
You're getting kind of.
Nah, I don't want to go any lower than that, really.
Andrews, if we were going to spend money, would be my vote.
And he's not even that expensive.
I'd
He's
say
only
it's
5,000.
way cheaper than he is every week of his
Yeah.
career. And then there was two others that were back to back. You said I think.
Bowers and
yes,
Bowers and Freiermuth.
Whoever you said before Bowers.
Right before him was Goddard at 4,500.
I like Bowers better than Goddard.
Let's plug Bowers in.
Okay, they went his way a lot.
4,400 is cheap. Now,
It is.
They're playing the Ravens,
I know, yeah.
but
It's
they'll
okay.
do some things. When you feature a guy like that,
Yeah, I mean they move him around like crazy,
Yeah.
and
All
they
right.
could be losing and throwing to him late.
that leaves us an average of 5,700 without a defense in there. So it's really about 6,000
that.
we have to spend per player here. McCaffrey is 8,700. Bijan Robinson 7,800. Taylor is 7,700. Saquon Barkley 7,500. Breece Hall 7,400. ATN 7,200. Joe Mixon is 7,100. Kamara 7,000.
Do you like Hall or Barkley if we're going to spend big money?
I kind of like the next guy,
Okay.
who is Pacheco at 6,900.
Ooh, that's a bad run defense.
That's an awful run defense.
I'm fine with that.
Let's plug that one in now.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams is 6,800. Derrick Henry, 6,700. I kind of like
I
that,
like that
too.
a lot.
Jahmyr Gibbs is 6,600. Josh Jacobs, 6,500. James Conner, 6,400. I kind of like that one,
Yeah,
too.
me too.
Kenneth
Kinda like
Walker
Gibbs, too.
is 6,300. Rashad White, 6,300. If you think they're going to be losing that game against Detroit, White's a nice option. Ramondre Stevenson, 6,200. Aaron Jones, 6,100. David Montgomery is 6,000. Tony Pollard, 5,900. Jerome Ford, 5,900. Brian Robinson, 5,800. DeAndre Swift, 5,900. Zach Charbonnet, 5,800.
Let me stop you for a second
Yeah.
here. It's probably going to be super chalky, but you haven't mentioned Mason's name.
No.
I mean, he's going to outscore these dudes in this neighborhood. I don't think McCaffrey's going to play.
He is 5,200.
I feel like we have to put him in. I mean, is everyone going to put him in? If you're going to give him that cheap, and if he's a starter for the Niners,
Probably. I think everybody has him.
let's do it.
They should.
Yeah, right.
At wide receiver, which means you got to hit on the other spots.
I mean, you're just
Yeah.
yeah.
If he's that chalky. CeeDee Lamb is 8,800. Justin Jefferson is 8,300. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 8,100.
Bounce back game.
Yeah, but it's 8,100.
That's a lot.
A.J. Brown, 7,900. Jamar Chase, 7,800. Cooper Kupp, 7,600.
Oh, I mean, could he get 20 targets?
Yeah, he could. Mike Evans, 7,500.
Not bad.
Devontae Adams, 7,300. Garrett Wilson, 7,100. Nico Collins, 7,000. Marvin Harrison, 6,900.
After a goose egg.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs, 6,800. Debo Samuel, 6,800. Devonta Smith, 6,700. Rashee Rice, 6,700.
I like that too.
Michael Pittman, 6,600. DJ Moore, 6,500.
Since you haven't mentioned him yet, I'm going to push for Neighbors against a terrible
It's a
Washington.
bad
team.
defense.
Yeah.
Drake London was quiet last week. He's
I don't
6,100.
think he'll be quiet again.
Yeah. Olave is
I
6,400.
don't
He
think
was
he'll be
quiet.
quiet again.
Yeah. Xavier Worthy, 6,100. Chris Godwin, 6,000. He's playing more in the slot.
Yeah, they threw him like 3 times in a row. I mean, like
Yeah.
when they needed third down, it was him.
Jaden Reed is 6,000. Metcalf is 5,900. Malik Neighbors is questionable, but he's 5,900.
I think he's playing. I love that one. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points in the game, but that was part of the reason I wanted Jones.
Terry McLaurin is 5,700 as well. They didn't
they
throw
should get
his
a
way.
lot
Yeah.
of massive target share for both of them.
Let's plug Neighbors in.
Okay. What kind of cash do we have to throw around now?
22-2.
For
We
three
have
spots.
we have a defense for 3 spots. So the defense
and 2 spots or 3
defense
spots?
and 3 spots. If
Okay.
we go Cooper Kupp,
I like
which
that one a lot.
is 7,600.
See what that looks like then.
That leaves us 14,600. We got 2 spots and a flex. So we need a cheap option at wide receiver and then a flex. We can get a cheap defense. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, I say there's a lot of defenses we'd like.
In fact, let's go to the defense now.
That's what I was going to suggest. Like, there's a bunch for like 2,400 from what I remember.
Yeah. Which one of those? We like Green Bay at 2,600.
It's not bad. There was like, again,
we like the
there's
Giants at 2,700.
Yeah, quite a bit.
The Patriots at 2,800.
I like the Patriots. Of those options, I would take the Patriots.
All right, Patriots at 2,800. That leaves us an average of 5,900 then to spend on a wide receiver and a flex.
Okay.
So looking at wide
You're
receivers
trying to find it
in
sorta
that
cheapy.
range, Godwin is 6,000.
That's not bad.
That's just over budget. Calvin Ridley at 5,800. George Pickens 5,800. McLaurin is 5,700. Dobbs is 5,700. Brandon Cooks at 5,600. Mike Williams 5,600. Christian Kirk 5,500.
What about a guy like Palmer against the Panthers?
That's not bad.
I bet he's
Tank Dell is 5,500.
that's pretty cheap for him too.
Yeah. Where's Palmer at? Jacoby
I bet he's
Myers
pretty
5,100. Deontay Johnson is 5,100.
Trying to think of a number one-ish receiver with a good matchup.
Jackson Smith and Jigba
I
4,900.
don't mind that either.
Lad McConkey is 4,900.
Same situation.
Yeah. Brian Thomas Jr. 4,800. I'm still not finding Palmer on here. Where's he at?
Do we like Palmer more than McConkey?
I think so.
I think so.
Let me see here. Palmer. There he is. He is 5,000.
If we do him, we could get a pretty strong flex.
Yeah. Let's plug it in. That gives us 6,800 for a flex. And that would get us Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Kyron Williams, Anthony Richardson. Wait, no, we can't put
That don't work.
Is this a super flex now? Must be.
I would
Because we get Dak Prescott, too. Why wouldn't you put a quarterback in
I
there?
say if you could do 2 quarterbacks in every superflex league, you always put 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah. Wow.
This might be
That's new.
This is
That's a new little
interesting.
twist.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's everybody. Okay. Is it going to let me?
So it won't let you do that. Well,
No, it's not going to let me do that.
Okay.
I clicked on
they
the
should
wrong
have a
button.
super flex.
They should do that. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So that gets us Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry at 6,700.
I like Henry more than those other options.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think he's going to score multiple times.
That leaves us 100 left over. Let's see if
You
let's
gonna
go check
bump
on
the defense.
Let's check and see what defense that would get us. 2,900 would get us the Lions or the Rams.
I think I would hang tight.
Okay.
I think Arizona scores on the Rams.
I don't dislike anything. There's nothing jumping out there that I want to buy up from, though.
Who's our tight end? Bowers.
Yeah.
Goddard was above him, but I'd take Bowers over Goddard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, so that's Justin Fields at 5,400.
I still think they should give you a free point if you keep $100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It gets you +1.
Absolutely. Isaiah Pacheco at 6,900. Jordan Mason at 5,200. Malik Neighbors at 5,900. Cooper Kupp at 7,600. Josh Palmer at 5,000. Brock Bowers at 4,400. Derrick Henry at 6,700. And the Patriots defense.
I like it. Of course, if
Locked and
McCaffrey
loaded.
plays, you make some adjustments.
I will
Yeah,
make an
yeah.
adjustment there, yeah. But
I don't think he will.
yeah. So, yeah, locked and loaded. We're ready to go.
Okay. Winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
We're not going to talk about last night.
We will not do that.
No.
Let's not do that. But that is our fantasy football focus for today. That's our DFS lineup for the weekend. Play along or not.
Yeah.
But that's on DraftKings. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We'll be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And now here we have to preview all of this week's games.
All right.
Matt, so we'll go through all the games, excluding the Steeler game. We'll make our picks and predictions on that game in the final segment of the show today. But the first game up here, 1 o'clock. This is a Fox game. Saints at 1-0, or at the Cowboys 1-0. Dallas favored by 6. The over-under 46.5.
I'm not convinced that the Saints O-line is good all of a sudden. But I do think they're an improved offense and can keep this close, reasonably close.
I think they'll be able to throw on the Cowboys a little bit.
They have weapons.
Yeah, they have weapons.
Decent defense.
Carr's not bad.
No.
How about this? The Saints are 27-13 against the spread as road underdogs since 2014.
Oh.
Wouldn't think that.
No, I wouldn't think that either. I always think of them as a big home field advantage, loud. Yeah.
But I like the Cowboys to win the game. I think I'd go over on that one too.
Yeah, I could see some points. I like getting the points there too, though. I mean,
okay.
I don't know if Dallas blows them out.
You have the Buccaneers at 1-0, at the Lions 1-0. Detroit favored by 7.5. The over/under 51.5. It's a big over/under.
I think it'd be a good game.
Yeah,
Bucs played them tough in the playoffs. If that was 6.5, I'd take the Lions, but 7.5, so I'm taking the Bucs.
Yeah, I think
magic number,
more than a touchdown in today's NFL.
Tough, man.
Yeah, and you think there's going to be a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Detroit crowd is going to be fired up once again.
No doubt.
But I'll take the points.
I kind of like where the Bucs are at.
Yeah, I think they'll score some points. I don't think they win the game.
No, I don't either. I think Detroit's really good.
Yeah, I think that I would take the. You going over in that one?
What was the number again?
51.5. It's a big number in today's NFL. Points were up though last week.
Yeah, I'd probably go over.
Yeah,
I don't feel strong about it though.
Detroit's defense is pretty good.
It is, and I don't think the Bucs is bad.
The Colts are 0-1, or at the Packers 0-1. Indianapolis favored by 2.5 on the road. The over/under just 40.5.
I'm sure they're going to try to play small ball and shorten this thing, but I think the Colts win this thing pretty handily.
Yeah, Malik Willis is not good.
No.
This is his 4th career start. He did win one of those starts somehow, but he hasn't thrown.
Not because of him.
He hasn't thrown for 100 yards in a game in any of his previous 3 starts. 100 yards.
I mean, I bet he does in this one, but that's not enough to beat the Colts.
No.
Right.
It's going to be ugly. In fact, I wouldn't surprise me if at some point Sean Clifford plays.
It's a possibility. Right. I can't believe Willis is ready.
Yeah. I would go under, and I would take the Colts.
I'm definitely taking the Colts. And I lean towards the under as well.
Yeah.
But they'll probably run the ball a lot.
The Jets at 0-1 are at the Titans 0-1. The Jets favored on the road by 3.5. The over/under is just 41.5.
I have no faith in Levis, but that 3.5 is
Yeah.
in Tennessee. It's not the easiest place to play. Tennessee's defense played quite well. The Jets didn't, but I think their defense will be better than that. They don't play the Niners every week, but I think I'll take the home points.
I think I will too. I think the Jets might win this game, but I think they win it tight.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would go over in this either.
No, I wouldn't either. I think both defenses should be good.
Yeah. The 49ers at 1-0 are at the 1-0 Vikings. San Francisco favored by 5.5 on the road. The over/under 45.5.
I think they beat them by double digits.
Yeah, I think they blow them out. I
And
just
I don't
don't think the
even
Vikings are all that good.
Yeah, I think they're fine. They beat up on a bad team.
Yeah.
But I think the Niners are a juggernaut.
Yeah. Yeah. I might even go under on that one.
You don't think Minnesota's going to score?
Because I don't think
much,
Minnesota scores a whole lot. I think Sam Darnold.
I mean, Shanahan knows them really well.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. They know his strengths and weaknesses better than anybody. He was on their team last year.
Exactly.
So.
And I think he could be successful there this year. He'd have a decent year, but this isn't going to be the week.
No, I don't think so. The Seahawks making the cross-country trip at 1-0 to the Patriots. Seattle favored by 3.5. The over/under 38.5.
I know. Home dog getting more than 3 with a low over/under. They were our fantasy defense. I think they keep it close. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to go 2-0. That sounds insane, but I bet they keep it within a field goal.
See, I would bet the Seahawks in
Would
this
you?
one. I just don't think the Patriots are good.
Oh, I don't either. I think their defense is.
I think they got away with one last week because Cincinnati played poorly, and Cincinnati's defense is not very good.
I do think Seattle's figuring things out, and they have some talent. I just don't love the super far cross-country road trip. I'm going to take the points.
Okay. Yeah. The big game at 1 o'clock on Fox. The 0-1 Giants are at the 0-1 Commanders. Washington somehow favored by 1.5. The over-under 43.5. I'll take the Giants all day in this one.
Yeah, I'd take the Giants' money line. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they win the game.
Yeah, outright. And at the money line, you should get a
little bit better deal.
little payoff on that one. Washington's not good. That
No,
defense
that
is
defense
atrocious.
is really bad.
Atrocious.
Again, I was interested in Daniel Jones and
Yeah.
those guys. Yeah.
The one team that Daniel Jones has played well against in his career is Washington.
I didn't even realize that, but it doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
And I think Dexter Lawrence causes problems with that O-line. Yeah, I mean, I really favor the
And
Giants.
I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but I'll take.
I'd take the Giants.
Yeah, I'll take the Giants
they
to
win
win
that
that one. The Chargers at 1-0 are at the Panthers at 0-1. This is a cross-country trip.
I know.
Chargers favored by 6. The over/under 39.5.
So we previewed it on the podcast, and I picked the Panthers, and then we're talking, and I'm just like, I can't. They're so bad. Like, I'd love to bet against both these teams right now. I think people are ahead of themselves on the Chargers, just like we thought in the preseason. But I can't put $1 down on Carolina to do anything. I mean, in no way, shape, or form. I don't care. What number would you need? And I don't even think the Chargers are good.
Have to be something over a touchdown.
I was going to say like 10.
Yeah.
The number's low.
Here's the thing, though. The Chargers are 1-6 against Carolina. The only win came back in 2004.
Wow. I mean, maybe there's something to it, but I don't know. They have better football players and better coaches.
Yeah. I just think they'll run especially with Derek Brown out.
That's
for Carolina. How are they stopping the run?
Right. They were really bad on defense
And
anyway.
the Chargers will be happy to just run the ball all day.
I think Bosa and Mack will get home. I think it's a problem.
Panthers gave up 180 rushing yards last week to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Against a bad offensive line.
Yeah. Harbaugh's going to play it close to the vest. I'd be shocked if they have a lot of Charger turnovers. I went to Chargers.
Yeah. I'm with you. At 0-1, the Browns.
I'm probably going to bet against the Chargers in week 3, though, especially if they beat this team bad.
Playing
Beat
the
the
Steelers
Raiders.
next week.
Oh, yeah. I should have thought of that.
We'll talk a lot about that game.
I guess we will, yeah. Like, who are they playing?
The Browns. So that's back-to-back East Coast trips for you.
Traveling back and forth.
Yeah, that's a tough one. The Browns at 0-1 are at the Jaguars at 0-1.
I like the Jags.
Jacksonville favored by 3. The over/under 41.5. I will take the Jaguars all day long in this one.
Yeah, I think the Jags have a good front. I think their front seven's quite good.
It's going to cause problems for them.
Those tackles.
Cleveland put 5 guys this week on IR. Now, none of them. Only one was a big time starter, but it's still
it's a depleted roster to some degree.
Yeah.
I don't know about the whole defense home road splits. I would probably lean towards the under. I think the Browns defense realizes we better be awesome or we're not going to have any chance to do anything this year. But in Jacksonville with the heat too, I like the Jags.
How about this? 10 straight Browns road games have gone over the total
because of bad defense,
including
probably.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cleveland is 2-8 against the spread on the road in that span.
No, I like the Jags. It's one of my favorite bets of the week. Is Jags at home.
Jags at home.
They didn't play bad last week.
At 0-1, the Raiders are at the Ravens, who are also 0-1. I guess I was right with that. Baltimore favored by 9. The over/under 41.5.
It's a lot of points.
It's a big number.
I know. I think the Raiders are bad.
The Ravens do blow out the bad teams, especially at home.
I love that Kansas City and Baltimore has 10 days to prepare for these. I just keep thinking about Crosby and Wilkins, though.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get Lamar on the ground, And
it is.
We put Henry in our lineup. I think he's going to do well. It's just a big number. I'll take the Birdies at home.
I'll take the Ravens. I think they cover.
I don't love I probably wouldn't put any of my hard-earned podcasting money for it.
No, they'll throw all kinds of stuff at Minshew and
I'm sure the defense will be fine.
Yeah. At 0-1, the Rams are at the Cardinals at 0-1. This is starts the 4:00 games. Arizona favored by 1. The over-under 47.5.
I was a little surprised the Arizona favored.
I like the Cardinals in this one.
I do too. And this was another one I said that.
Rams are all beat up. Their
So
offensive
beat up.
line is a mess right now.
I just don't know if the Cardinals D-line can take advantage of it, and I don't like betting against Stafford and McVay.
I hear you.
But I think Arizona's.
I just think
in
the
a
Rams
good-
are in a
much
bad
better
spot right now.
Much
Yeah.
better spot.
I think they're in a bad spot. Just too many injuries.
Too many
already.
injuries. I mean, the O-line is totally wrecked.
Yeah, and James Conner is.
I think they'll put up points against.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on the Rams D at all.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
That was my concern coming in. I thought their line was intact.
425 game, CBS. At 0-1, the Bengals are at the 1-0 Chiefs. Kansas City favored by 5.5. The over/under 48.5.
I saw it at 6 and was all over Kansas City.
Yeah.
Burrow's not right. The right tackle was really bad. Higgins isn't going to play again. Their run defense is bad. Arrowhead's awful. You give Reed and Mahomes 10 days to
Cincinnati's
prepare.
pass protection was troublesome last week.
Big time.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that this isn't. I know this is like a feature game, and everyone's looking forward to it in the offseason. Like, these are two contenders. And it's only one game, but man, I thought this game would be 8.5.
If Cincinnati is going to win this game, Trey Hendrickson has to dominate against Kingsley Somataya.
And he might.
And he might.
And that still doesn't mean they win. But, I mean,
Right.
that's
the only way they keep it close.
Step one, yeah.
Yeah.
And Burrow needs to be great.
At 1-0, the Bears are at the 1-0 Texans. This is the 8:20 game on the NBC. Houston favored by 6, the over-under 45.5. Caleb Williams is not ready.
No, I don't
For
think
this
that's
stage.
nearly a big enough number.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree.
I will take the Texans.
That's their home opener, too,
That's
right?
their home opener.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they blow them out.
That place is going to be really excited about the Texans, too.
Yeah, I don't think the Bears are a good football team.
No, their defense played well, but I don't think they'll stop that trio of receivers and a dedicated running game.
This is the first time the Texans have been at least 6-point favorites in a game since Week 16 of 2020.
Wow. I guess that adds up, though.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It took people a long time to buy in last year.
And the Monday Nighter this week. Not a great one. It's big if you like birds.
Oh, yeah.
You have
Falcons
the
need to
0-1
rebound,
Falcons
right.
at the 1-0 Eagles. 8:15 game. This is 2 standalone games in a row for the Eagles, who have flown back from Brazil. Philadelphia favored by 6.5. The over/under 47.5. I think it goes under.
Okay.
And I like the Eagles.
I would say I like Philly, too. It's a pretty big number, and I do think the Falcons' offense will get better throughout the year.
I just don't know that it's going to be better now.
It leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
Seeing what
If
you
he's
saw
still, if they still, I can't
there. 'Cause
imagine.
they'll get after him, too.
I can't imagine his Achilles got better in a
Sure,
week.
Sure.
Remarkably better enough that they're going to have him under center and doing the things that he typically does.
And it's just a lot of change with that Falcons team, too. I mean, they're going to make a lot of adjustments in the course of a week. In Philly, home opener.
Yeah, that place is going to be.
That place is going to be bonkers on Monday night. I think it's a tough environment.
Absolutely. So
I think that number's about right, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can
mean,
see it
yeah.
coming in right around there.
Yeah, I mean, Bijan might run for 120, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's ways of London. I bet will do fine.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be
Decent slate of games.
Maybe you're talking me into 47.5 is a big number.
You were thinking about the over.
Yeah, I could see it being like 27-20.
Let's reconvene on that on Monday.
Yeah, we can talk about it then.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a better feel for everything. But yeah, good. Not a bad slate of games.
No, there's a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely, but we weren't split on too many there.
No, we agreed on too many probably.
Probably.
Yep. I'm going to be have Red Zone on my laptop in here during the pre-game show from 12:30 to 1:30.
And I'll be watching in Denver. So
Yeah. It's on in the press box, right? Like
yeah,
there's stuff
actually
everywhere.
most every press box really is they'll just have a whole bank of TVs on all
Just
the different
all over.
games. Yeah.
Okay, I assume so.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like the 425 starts because I can actually watch some of the early games and.
I don't for away games because I'm not home in my home base. I don't like that part.
Yeah, you don't like being away from your
My lazy boy.
Your whoopee.
Right, exactly. I'll do it here.
Got your blankie there, your thumb in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. My routine.
He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. That was this week's slate of games. Matt and I will be back to pick the Steeler game right after this. Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, it is time to pick the big game that we've been talking about all week long. The 1-0 Steelers at the 0-1 Broncos. That's a 4:25 start on CBS. And the Steelers favored by 2.5. The over-under, the lowest of the week, 36.5.
Yeah. I'm under.
Are you under?
I am under.
Let me think. I guess I am too.
Are you? Take it away.
All right. So I do think the Steelers will get into the end zone this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that'll be the issue. I don't know how the Broncos get into the end zone more than once in this game, unless it's on a defensive turnover or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We know Mike Tomlin's record against rookie quarterbacks, 24-6.
Yeah, right.
Now,
They've been really good on the road lately.
2 of those losses came last year.
Yes.
But they were against
Stroud,
and the other one was against a really good defense in their building in Cleveland.
Browns, DTR.
Yeah. Denver is not Cleveland in terms of defense.
And I don't think Nick's is Stroud.
And I don't think Nick's is Stroud. So I got the Steelers winning this one 23-10.
I have 16-10. Now, I will say if we come in here Monday and it's a loss, I'm not going to entirely blame Justin Fields, but I could see 4 sacks, an overthrow that gets picked.
Yeah.
Something along those lines where mistakes is where you lose this thing. When Denver's hanging around in the fourth quarter and it's 13-12 and your team's a little more tired than their team, or they get a bounce or something special teams happens or something along those lines. But I don't think we can predict those things. I think the Steelers are the better team.
And I think if Denver's offensive line and running game were better, I would give them a shot.
That's kind of what I was leaning towards, too.
But it's not.
Yeah. And
I think the Steelers' running game will dominate the game.
I keep coming back to that, too. I mean, the stat that I can't stop thinking about is they allowed a whole yard more per carry than they produced last year. And I just don't see much difference. And the defense isn't better. Yeah, I don't see much difference.
I mean, you got rid of Justin Simmons. He was your second best defensive player.
Yeah, and this is going to be a run game for both teams, I'm sure. You don't want either one of these quarterbacks throwing it.
Yeah, it might be over in 2.5 hours.
It might be. I mean, if Peyton has Nick's throw as much as he did in week 1, that's criminal, unless they're losing by a ton.
Yeah.
And I know they were extended handoffs to some degree, but I don't know what Denver has to really hang their hat on.
I don't think that works against this defense. This particular Steelers defense is too fast.
It's too fast, and I don't know how they protect. I don't think I'm going to pick Denver to win many games this year.
Yeah,
period.
And the Steelers' defense is remarkably better than that of Seattle.
Absolutely.
Particularly in the middle of the field.
And up front, everywhere.
Like, Seattle's got all new – their inside linebackers are all new and their safeties are new.
Yeah.
Like, right up the middle of their defense, and they shut Denver down.
We had a good conversation Thursday night with Merrill Hodge. And – I'm not speaking for Merrill, but I guess he doesn't.
Dropping names.
But I guess he doesn't know a lot about Garrett Bowles. And he was just kind of asking him, like, what's up with this guy? And I'm like, Dale and I have said he's like most overrated left tackle in the league. He's like, boy, was he bad against the Seattle Seahawks. And he was 100% right.
Yeah.
I didn't study it to the degree Merrill did. But if he's going to be alone on Highsmith, and that's one of your, quote, better matchups.
That's one of your best matchups, yeah.
If you're the Broncos, and I think you lose that matchup if you're Denver.
Because you have to help against Watt.
Have to.
And, they want to move the pockets and things of that nature as well.
Yeah.
How you steal on the edges on those guys?
It's going to be really tough. I don't think they'll run up the middle. I mean,
let alone how you blocking Cam Hayward.
I know.
How you blocking Keanu Benton?
Right. The centers are bad. I mean, the guards are okay. Again, if we were looking through a Denver lens, we'd be like, man, we got an awful lot invested in this O-line. They can hang with the front.
They really
that
can.
That doesn't pass the sniff test for me at all.
So we didn't do this in the offseason. We probably should have. But we went through the schedule last year, I remember, and looked at it game by game against which teams the Steelers' defensive front would have an advantage over the other team's offensive front.
Mm-hmm.
It might be 17 out of 17 this year.
I was going to say, let's start at the top. What if it were the Lions?
That would be one team
that's about all I can
and that might be the only one.
It might be the only one.
We'll see Indianapolis later this season. I'll still take the Steelers' defensive front against Indianapolis' offensive line, and they might be number 2.
There's probably 3 or 4 fronts in the league
that might be able to hold their own.
Yeah, I was going to say there's 3 or 4 defensive fronts
Okay.
that I would say the same thing against.
Yeah.
Like, they have an advantage over every O-line in the league. But the Steelers might be number 1.
It might be.
They might be number 1. You factor in
With
the
Hayward
linebacker.
being back to
Yeah.
what he looks like after week 1 and a healthy Ogunjobi and Benton in his second year, and then you throw in guys like Montravius Adams and
Herbig.
Herbig, and,
if
like,
those,
they can
those
come
are
at
relief
you,
pitchers.
they can come at you in waves.
The bullpen's strong.
Yeah.
And it's deep, and you just can stay fresh. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty easy exercise. That it's as it stands today, it's 17 out of 17.
Yeah. I mean, it's that good.
It's that good. And this Denver front's okay, but they're heavier and overpaid, and they're fine. But
Yeah.
I don't think they win that battle.
I don't think they do at all either.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an issue for the. I mean,
And quarterback has
the
deals
kid
with
was
pressure,
inaccurate
too.
last week,
Yeah,
throwing 10 yards down the field.
yeah,
That's not far.
it's not far.
And if he starts throwing high in those situations against this defense, I think Minka gets a pick this week.
Wouldn't shock me at all. I don't think Sutton does a lot. I actually don't think Pickens does a lot either. But
I don't think
it
they're
doesn't
gonna ask
bother
him to
me
do
as
a lot.
much.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of 13 personnel again. What was the other thing I was saying? So even if the Steelers and their line are close, in terms of when Denver has the ball, their ball carriers aren't great in the run game. It's not Bijan. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not a special guy.
And the quarterback isn't going to sense pressure and see where blitzes are coming from.
They're going to be mixing things up. And
Yeah. I mean, so the guys with the ball in their hands don't help the protection or the run game as much as other teams.
And you're talking about a team in the Steelers that play a heavy dose of man defense. You're going to try to throw all those short passes against a man defense?
And they're fast and they're attacking. Right. I mean, you could definitely trip it up. I just don't think
Somebody
Denver's very
falls down
good.
or something,
Yeah.
But I don't see it.
I don't either. And the other side of the ball, I could see their front beating up on this, not beating up on, but winning the line battle. That to me is not crazy talk. But I don't like their linebackers and
in this
safeties
game,
and,
a punt won't be a bad thing.
I'd say ending drives with a kick of any sort is fine.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Tomlin's not going to push the envelope. All right, 3 and out, that's fine. Pin them deep.
Yeah,
Make
let's
them
go
drive
play defense.
85 yards.
Let's make the kid go 70 yards against our defense.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I think I have respect for Peyton. He knows how to win in this league, and he probably knows that the cards in his hands aren't as good as the team he's playing against. And I can't believe they won 8 games last year, despite some real lows.
It says a lot about Russell Wilson, though.
It does
that
as
he
well.
won 7
Yeah.
7 of his starts with that team.
There's an art to quarterbacks and head coaches knowing how to win in this league.
Yeah.
And they lost half of that.
Yeah, because the defense wasn't good last year, and it didn't get any better.
No, I don't think it's
If
any
anything,
better
it
at
got
all.
worse.
Right. It's about the same, give or take.
Yeah.
I mean, Simmons is gone, but
The safety
wasn't great last year.
positions.
Yeah. I mean, when
Junk.
Seattle started running the ball and Henton leaned on Walker, they were gashed.
It was done.
They were gashed.
It was done.
Right. And they're not
Yeah.
going to have 2 safeties in this game.
No.
Weird stuff like that. They were in it for a while. Maybe they will be in this one. I don't see the Steelers running away from anybody, but I think Pittsburgh's a noticeably better team.
Yeah, I do too. So we'll see if we're right on Monday. But
Yeah.
we'll be back on Monday, and we'll talk more about the game. And, well, we start to get into a preview of the Chargers. We'll have a better handle on what they are, too, after seeing them for 2 games. Start to have a better idea. I think we have a pretty good idea what they want to do.
Yeah, there's not a lot of mystery with the Chargers.
There might be 80 rushing attempts in the Chargers-Steeler game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's another one. Might be 2.5 hours. Another shorty. I mean, you're playing right to the Steelers' strength.
Old school
We'll do that.
football,
Right,
baby.
right.
Old school football. If the Steelers can win this game, I mentioned earlier in the week how much greater their chances of making
2-0
playoffs
goes a
are.
long way.
2-0 takes you a long way.
I
You'd
think
be
the
2-0
Browns
on the
and
road.
Bengals could be 0-2. Yeah, right. You had your home opener yet. Right?
Yeah. So this is a big game.
Yeah, I think the Ohio teams both lose.
I do too.
I mean,
and if you
you
can
give
do
2
that and get 2 games up on both of those teams,
Yeah, that's a heck of a
and
nice
some
start
of these
this
other
season.
teams lose. What's
It was nice
Miami
seeing
right now?
losing, right.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing the Jets lose in round 1 too. Potential wild card teams to battle with.
Yeah.
They all have some holes.
Hey, why not win the division this year?
Hey, might as well. I wish the division games were soon.
Yeah, I
The
really do.
state of the Ravens O-line and what Watson looks like right now and how Cincy played in week 1. I wish they were playing.
See, I
those
don't see
right
the
now.
Ravens' offensive line getting fixed anytime soon.
I don't know it'll look as bad, but I don't think it's ever going to get fixed.
As long as you got Falele starting in there,
It's brutal.
yeah.
I mean, he's going to get Steelers interior.
Can't block a
line?
toilet.
No, I mean, you can't recover.
Yeah.
Too big.
Yeah,
Try
it
to turn
moves
the
like a
battleship.
glacier.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's a problem for them. They can deal with that. But,
Yeah.
Matt, that's going to do it for our show today.
Fun stuff.
Absolutely. We appreciate Missy Matthews stopping by and chatting with us there. We also appreciate Justin Miller here keeping us on the air. And, Tyler keeping us
Yeah, check out
on
the
the
YouTube
video
stuff
there.
if
Check
you
out the
haven't
YouTube
already.
video if
It's a
you
big
haven't
week
done
in
that.
drive history.
Absolutely. It's a big week in actually just in the Steelers audio network history. Well, now we've done shows video-wise
We have.
before, but never
To the-
regularly scheduled stuff.
Right, yeah, it's usually like owners' meetings and combines and
The big
stuff
stuff.
like that. Right,
yeah.
right.
Well, now we're big stuff every day of the week.
About time everybody figured
There you
that
go.
out. Right.
Absolutely. But for my partner, Matt Williamson, I am Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.